In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create an unusual distortion effect using the equations filter in Affinity Photo. I'm starting with a layer filled with a gradient. Go to the Filters menu, Distort and Equations. I've got some equations in a notepad, so I'm just going to copy those over into the filter. You'll find them in the description field for the video. Sadly, there's no presets feature in the equations filter, so a notepad is just as easy. Macros can be a workaround, but they're not a perfect workaround as you can't change the origin point. Set the extend mode to mirror. Change the B parameter to zoom in and zoom out. Go to the A parameter and create all kinds of super colourful effects. You can also change the origin of the effect by dragging on the image. You can also modify the equation. The equation is made up of many different blocks. You can see them all divided by plus signs. You can make many variants by just repeating those blocks. You can also vary the constants within those blocks. You can also change the Rx into Rx minus Ry. You can also add some constants, so 20 times Rx or 1.2 times Ry, or perhaps minus 1.2 or minus 0.2. At the same time, continue to modify the parameters A and B. Experiment with the settings as well as changing the origin point. Sadly, the panel is fixed. You can't expand the panel. Editing can get quite tricky when the equation gets longer and longer. The end result also does depend on the gradient or image underlying. Some gradients work very well with it, others not so much. You can also change the sign into cos, C-O-S. You could also use tan, but that really doesn't work as well. You can also, of course, just add additional functions to the equation. As mentioned, the equation is made up of multiple blocks. Copy one of those blocks, paste it at the end of the equation, change the divided by 10 into divided by 25 or divided by 4.5, or change the plus sign into a minus sign, or perhaps use multiplied by or divided by. As I haven't used the parameter c, you can also add the parameter c into the equation as well. Before you click apply, I would suggest copy all those equations into a notepad or text pad, just to save them for future use. Once you're happy, click apply. Go back to the gradient tool, create another gradient, apply a gradient swatch from the swatches panel. Go to the filters menu and use the repeat equations. The effect is applied again. The only issue, the origin point and the parameters can't be changed. It's a fixed effect. You can apply the effect too many times to the same gradient. You can continue to keep changing the gradient and keep applying the effect using the repeat equations. You can always fade the effect. You can do that via the layer menu and fade equations. You can set a fade value as well as a blending mode for the effect. You can set the fade to 100%, but personally I think it works best at 0%. And then combine with blending modes such as darken, difference, exclusion, lighten, etc. Once you're happy with your combination of blending mode, effect and fade, click apply. You can always go back to the filters menu and apply repeat equations. You can also use a selection and apply the effect just to that, or use the equations on multiple layers and combine those. You can also use the equations with shapes. Go to the tools panel, select ellipse, etc. Go to the filters menu and apply repeat equations, or perhaps go to distort menu and equations to distort the shape in many different ways. I hope you have found this tutorial of interest. I'm always adding new tutorials about Affinity Photo as well as many other applications. Please subscribe to the Graphicxtras channel. Please add some comments. Also a dislike or like. Thank you much.